Good evening, everyone who are there. Welcome to each one of you for being here with us today. We are back with another international webinar on Awake, Arise, and Act. So, in today's webinar, we will discuss that what truly stands behind the teamwork is dreamwork. And with our distinguished experts, we understand how we individually combat the pandemic. And during this webinar, we will discuss that how this live panel discussion will come up with the title and what awakening we need, how to arise of it, and what actions will be taken. And after the panel discussion, we will have a very amazing workshop. So please, guys, be ready. And now it's up to Dr. Suhani Mendonça. Suhani Mendonça is going to anchor this show, and she is a director of Yellow Spider event. She is a project director of the Mendonça Foundation talk show. She is the host, lifestyle influencer. She is into social services, and in COVID 19, who doesn't know Suhani? So, Suhani, you have been awarded by Mahatma Gandhi for social services and House of Commons in London. So, I welcome Suhani over here and up to you. Take the ship.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shilpa, for your kind words. Truly, gratitude for that wonderful introduction. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our fourth international webinar by C4 Wellness. Yes, C4 Wellness, which is none other than C4 Integrated Wellness is a private limited company which is recognized internationally. And this is a company whose brainchild is by Dr. Shilpa Desai. Well, as it says, arise, awake, stop not until your goal is achieved. Wonderful words of wisdom by Swami Vivekananda. What better way to start this wonderful webinar? Our wonderful Dr. Shilpa Desai, as most of us know her, she is the first health psychologist of India, a prolific scientist of wellness, and expert founder and managing director of C4 Wellness Integrated. And she's also founder of World Wellness Federation. She was the COVID officer of IPL 2021 held in Mumbai in BCCI. We all saw the wonderful services that C4 has for all of us. And yes, C4 believes that before you have to get yourself operated, save yourself from surgery, come to us and we shall look after you holistically. That's the entire ideation behind C4 Wellness by Dr. Shilpa Desai. They have amazing amount of number of clientele that they have been working with, and some of them are MSP, SRPF, MCA, that's Mumbai Cricket Association, IIT, Bombay, and Tata Canthin. Uh, and I need to add on to this that the wonderful work that they continue to do day in and day out, yes, they are also giving the vaccination for COVID. Isn't that brilliant? Such a wonderful webinar cannot be possible without its partners. And yes, we are very, very thankful to all our partners. That's Day to Day Profit, yours truly, Yellow Spider Events, Wellness Centauri, BOC, Rotary Club of Mumbai, Disha Chocolates, Proviva Pharma, Custom Arts, Triveni Media, World Wellness Federation. Well, let me remind you that this entire webinar is out of 4 countries, that is UK, US, and our India. Well, it's time to get our eminent panelists on board. So, without much ado, let's get them on board. Firstly, let's invite Padma Shri awardee, Dr. Valli, who was awarded by the 10th President, Honorable APJ Abdul Kalam in the year 2007. He was awarded the Nobel Prize from the United Cultural Convention, Cambridge, UK, and he's also received the Lifetime Achievement Award. A former physician to the President of India. Welcome, sir. Welcome to our webinar and gratitude for coming here. Thank you so much. Our next guest, of
Thank you,
course,
Suhani.
is our next guest, of course, is Professor Paresh Sheth, who runs an investment bank, Indus One Advantage, and specializes in cross-border joint ventures and alliances. Indus has a presence across 5 countries. He serves as a director on the board of CASI, the global certification body for CSR and sustainability, New York, USA. He is the founder of CSR Diary, one of the world's largest voluntary platforms with a reach of over 3 million student volunteers. Thank you so much, Paresh Sheth, for being here with us. Gratitude.
Thank you
Well,
for having me.
going, yeah, inviting a guest from UK, David Chapman, who's worked in the sustainability sector for nearly a decade. He's graduated from Swansea University. He has worked in the charity sector, supporting people in fuel poverty, until entering the current role as sustainability champion at the University of Warwick. Within this role, he takes a holistic view of sustainability. He is a climate reality leader. Welcome, David, to our webinar. Gratitude for being here. And of course, last but not the least, the special woman that we have today, and that is Smitha Bharti. She is the executive director, Sakshi, a playwright, she's creative director, she's theater and multimedia practitioner. She's a recipient of the Karmavir Gold Chakra and the Karmavir Puraskar for social change and justice. And she is also the Rotary Globe Peace Fellow. Thank you so much. Gratitude, Smita ji, for coming here on our webinar. And it's really brilliant to have this wonderful, amazing, eminent panelists. So without much ado, Dr. Shilpa, over to you. The floor is open now.
Absolutely. So, like this floor, I'm opening with Dr. Waliji. Dr. Waliji, so you are into the expertise, and I would like to open this question that what do you think about this third wave? And with this, how you would like to tell our people of India or a globe, because this is a global situation. So, how they should go for awakening themselves, how to arise and to act on this. So, Waliji.
Thank you very much, Shilpaji. It's very exciting to be here. Let me start with something which is required right now. I would recite for all of us to give us more energy. Om Priyambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvaruk Mivu Bandhanam Tyormukshi Mamratat. These are very powerful verses, and I pray with this, God give us power to fight with this enemy, Corona, and fight with the third wave. And before going to that, I was just searching what Shilpa means. So I got so many good things about your name, Shilpaji.
Oh,
I can't
so
say all about it, but it says highly charged, it says well dressed, it says dignified, it says self sufficient, it says
thank you so
impressive, it says diplomatic in nature, it says gentle, it says cooperative, and overall a leader. And with awake, arise, and act, we should all emerge as leaders to fight with what you have recently called as third wave. And this biggest enemy these days, I had seen the pictures from Taj Mahal, ruined Taj Mahal. I have seen the pictures of Gateway of India and many other religious places which were always crowded, including every temple of India and so many places of India in the first wave and in the second wave, and all because of the invisible enemy. And this, what you have asked, is something which is worth discussing, and how this third wave will come. What is third wave? What is this genesis of third wave, and what is Delta virus? Waves come and go, but our alertness should persist. This is number
True.
one. I don't believe third wave or fourth wave. What I believe is whatever you have done for second wave, keep that all facilities in order. Don't dismantle them.
Absolutely.
Third wave may come, but there are ifs. So ifs are, and fact is that if we do not observe precautions, we do not get vaccinated. And I have made a nice mnemonic for facts. You can tell to your clientage also, which you are doing it, so expanded clientage. F for cover the face, A for avoid the crowds, C for clean the hands, 2 for
Wow.
2 meter distance. In this case, it should be a little more. And S for self isolate, book and test if you have symptoms. So S for
Wow.
symptoms, self isolation, and testing. And daily we are hearing from various channels the Vaccinate India program from one channel, namely, and from other channels too. This what they are showing is V. I also thought this V is from for virus also. So ultimate solution is V, vaccinate. So with this kind of virus about which we have known very much less, and countries like Israel have been deceived, and
Correct.
they vaccinated their enough number of population,
Yes.
80%, and
Yes.
then now they have to reverse their decisions of again wearing masks. Day before yesterday, 30,000 cases in UK, which is a
Oh,
Yes.
great number, big number, and they are again closing. So this deceptive virus, as our Prime Minister has already said, Berupia virus, which has multiple shapes, multiple colors,
yes.
is a very, very strong virus, and it has changed scientifically. We know it is mutated. That's the word we know, we have learned. And it has changed its structure so that
Mm.
it binds onto the ACE receptors with a greater force, like this. If you
Yes.
appreciate certain cartoons which some
So,
channels are showing, they show this. This is what? ACE receptors, and this is spike protein. So what this spike protein is doing, it has changed. It's one of the terminals, and leucine moiety of amino acid is changed. It's become more lethal. Normally, the viruses become more friendly as they mutate. This virus is
Mm.
an exception. It's a matter
Yeah.
of debate. Why? Because whether it is a lab-produced virus or something else, but what I want to impress through your program is that we should not leave precautions. And Maharashtra is doing very good job to fight this coronavirus, and they have made very good schemes to help the people who have suffered from the coronavirus, and they are going ahead of India now to have prevention. And I congratulate your minister also, and to people like you also who have greater efforts to fight the coronavirus in Maharashtra. Just one thing more, I would add that it's the state of mind which is very important, which is your subject actually, that we should be relaxed, we should be quiet, we should be having adequate sleep, and we should away from all the negative thoughts like jealousy, irsha, what we call in
yeah,
Hindi, and all
absolutely.
other negative things, animosity, and to harm others. This is all from our mind travels down to each cell, which is a mind. So
Absolutely.
there's no time to explain why I'm saying though each cell is a mind. Mind doesn't stay only in the brain. So when we do positive things, our each cell becomes happy, and
Yes.
they express this between themselves, and the effect is visible on our body. When we do negative things, each cells become depressed, and what they produce is autoimmunity. They start eating each other, and this is how this is controlled here and with each cells, by our emotions, by our practice during the day, by our sleep, by our relaxation, by kama, by krodha, by bhaya. Bhaya means fear. By Avichara, bad thoughts. Irsha, I have just told. And Uddanga means become out of space. So all these things Corona has taught us very nicely that we should combine our uh, efforts in the direction to heal our body and to heal other body and wear mask. For mask also I had made during the last pandemic a mnemonic मेरा अपना सुरक्षा कवच M for मेरा A for अपना S for सुरक्षा K for कवच and many ministers and chief ministers have adapted this and I was
I
very
know.
happy that at least we can remember what mass does to us, what good mass does to us.
Absolutely.
And once Thomas Jefferson was asked that when he was addressing a gathering and like gathering of eminent people like I'm sitting with you, I'm a very small person and
Awesome.
he was asked by his
Humble of you.
mentor that just stand up, speak up, and shut up. So I would forgive all of you, and it would be my pleasure to listen to the most experienced people around me. And I would
Arey,
repeat, I am a beginner. I am learning from people like you.
Very
Padma
much.
Shri Valiji. You are Padma Shri Valiji in front of us. And actually, what you have said, the people who are listening to us must understand that what he said, that awake, who is your
Yeah.
enemy?
Yeah.
Arise from there and create a positivity through your mind and
And
act around you, around your people. You are like how Smita ji always say that ki we are claustrophobic right now and we are within the house. How
yeah.
we need to be positive when you each one of you is having a holding up an NGO within you. Just bring
Yes.
it out. That is how I think we should go ahead. And this question, I would like to take it to Smita ji. That when Dr. Wali ji have raised up a very nice question of the mental health, I would like to ask you that what kind of awakening, arising, and action need to have in this kind of pandemic situation, which is so inevitable for all of us globally.
Excellent. Super.
Thank you so much. I would say that what we really need at this point of time is collective action. Awake, arise, act for me is collective action. And put very simply, collective action refers to the idea of communities pooling their resources to achieve shared interests. And the resources that we refer to over here are both material and empathetic. Material actions that people within the community can and they must take in order to fulfill the shared interest of creating I say this because this is the work we do, of creating a violence-free home and society. So we
Exactly.
we run a project called the Rakshan Project, and I will talk about that at just a little later, which is a project with the youth of this country. And through this project, we are equipping individuals who we say
Yes.
have become Rakshans. And for us, Rakshans means those who are committed to preventing harm. And we equip them with the skills, tools, resources to discuss, interrupt, and break the cycle of violence within their families and their communities. We
Wow.
instill within them the idea that any kind of social change is not just for the benefit of a few, but for everyone. If we have to transform the harmful conditions that we live in, then addressing social, political, and economic inequalities in our world is our responsibility.
Exactly.
Responsibility towards the other as well as ourselves. Just because
Absolutely.
we deserve to live our lives without violence, be it
Yes.
physical, emotional, economic, or political. So,
Absolutely.
the more connected people are to fighting back against an injustice, the more difficult it gets for oppressive forces to exact its abusive power. Taking
Yeah.
action together can then become like a catalyst for transformation, individually and collectively. That's what we're talking about. Awake, arise, act collectively. So asking for help, reaching out, reflecting with one another, inviting others to engage, these are some of the methods that can dismantle the isolated conditions within which violence occurs. So, collective action for me would not be just about fighting oppression, but also about collectively healing one another and transforming our
Absolutely.
world. This is
Lovely.
what
Super.
take, arise, and act means for me.
ग्रेट
Excellent.
ग्रेट ग्रेट स्मिता जी, आपने जो बताया वो ओवरवेलमिंग लग रहा है, मतलब लाइक इट्स सो गुड, द
Good.
पीपल
Yeah.
हु आर listening to us, they should get motivation by this. And when you said about the collective actions, so collective actions in both the form, I think human and the environment, you know, the collective action only not towards the only human, we need to now respect the environment which we have ignored so far, and now is
Mm.
the time to we need to work on that. And here this question I would like to take it to David,
David.
as like you are into the environment and sustainability, how do you find in this pandemic situation that a human, when they are so much shorthand with their own self and help themselves, how the environment is getting ignored, or we can still help the environment?
Yeah, it's that's an interesting question. I think it's been a mixed bag over the past year. One of the, I think, most interesting things from COVID shows how just what kind of a couple of people in one country can massively affect everything on a global level. The amount of change that has occurred because of COVID is amazing. Unfortunately, that has come with a massive amount of deaths across the world. But what is shocking is that we do still have this response to COVID worldwide, but we're actually still seeing much more deaths from climate change than we are coming from COVID, and we're not doing anywhere near the level of change on climate change as we are doing with COVID. COVID shows actually on a government level how much change can happen and how rapidly it can happen across the
Mm.
world.
Mm.
We're seeing obviously most of the climate emissions come from things like energy, transport, food, clothing are the top four, and all those industries have been changing over the past year. I was actually very pleased to see that if I remember my facts and figures correctly, that the Google search for how to live a more sustainable life increased by over 4,500% in the first 3 weeks of lockdown last kind of March. So people are caring about it, and we've also seen biodiversity coming back into our environment, and kind of the amount of pollution decrease from cars being off the road, and how that really affects our health and well-being. And even now, these are going back up to normal levels. I think there was a Bloomberg article a couple of months ago that was saying there's about 10 million deaths a year from air pollution alone, compared to, I think it's about 2.6 from COVID at the moment over the same period. And yet air pollution is going back up to where it was. But I think it has been a wake-up call. Obviously, we've got things like COP26 that's been hosted in Glasgow at the end of this year. We've just had the G7 hosted in Cornwall in England as well. Unfortunately, not much came out of G7, so I'm really hoping that they're saving it all for COP, because this year is basically the year we really need to draw the line in the sand on a global level. The emissions, carbon emissions and the equivalents only reduced by about 5% globally during this COVID crisis. But on a per year, we need to see them dropping about 7% or more for us to actually reach where we need to be. Obviously, we've also seen an increase in plastic use as well, due to kind of things like tests and other things, disposable masks, and people not using reusable masks and just kind of disposing them and littering in them. And there's also a concern, I think, going forward with the fact that a lot of us have been locked down. A lot of people are just...
David, here just I want to ask you, because you raised a very good question about the disposable of the mask and other things, which is also creating the environmental degradation. This question has never been asked, and you have really raised up the good thing. I would like to ask you, David, that even in UK, or if you have seen in the sustainability area, any research paper or anything has come up where the mask has been, not disposed properly? Can you say something on that?
Um, as in kind of the effects of the mask going up just on the
Yes,
ground. I mean, you got the
yes.
plastic, you got the plastic waste and general litter. We found already found masks being caught up with wildlife. So I'm not aware of any formal papers that have been done on it, but it is having an effect. And from what I understand, just washing a mask has exactly the same effect as using a disposable one. So we're going through all these tens of thousands, maybe millions of masks globally.
Oh,
And for the general average person, I mean, in hospitals, yes, they probably need disposables, but the general average person can probably just use a reusable mask and just wash them and have the same
exactly.
effect and vastly reduce the amount of litter we're getting. That and gloves as well. A lot of people are wearing
Exactly.
latex
Okay.
gloves.
It's
Um,
like, David, like gloves, mask, the things which is so much inevitable in this situation of COVID-19. This question is so important that during this, we are struggling with the pandemic, and then we are forgetting the environment within that struggle, and then
yeah,
we again are gonna face the bigger problem than this. So
Yes.
we have to be so wise. We need to arise and awake regarding this very burning situation where the disposable biodegradation and even biodisposal has to happen properly, right?
yeah,
This question is really taken up to a very different level, and this actions we need to put it together globally. We need to think over this, so we can work on in different way on different aspects. So your what is the meaning of having this kind of webinar together, where even Mr. Paresh is an international speaker also, would like to ask him in this situation, because he is into finance, he is into the business, he is into the big industry, small industry, and as a venture capitalist, they do the investment to the many things, and they are into more kind of, I think, the business solutions they give. So Pareshji, I want to ask you here that when we are talking about the environment, when we are talking about this kind of issues which are coming up, even the human life, human business, like the mask business, or the in this kind of gloves and this kind of business, when they are flaring up, what do you think, Pareshji, that the reusable thing should come up, or it is coming up? What kind of this industry is taking a lead, and awakening is happening in the small scale industry or big scale industry, and how they are arising it, and how the actions are taking it over there? So Pareshji, over to you on this question.
Thank you for having me here, Shilpaji. Let me put the answer in a different way.
Yeah.
Take a step back. Right now we are in the middle of a pandemic, so most people, all of us, can only think about the pandemic. What is happening? What will happen to me? What will happen to my family, my business, my state, my country? And we are not able to think beyond this. So take a step back. In fact, take 10 steps back. You will look at evolution. This is the part of evolution. So there was
Yes.
a Spanish flu. There were times when India as a country did not have enough foreign exchange for a week, and we will have to shut down the country. There have been calamities throughout the world. So this is evolution, and finally we have arrived at a consensus between the countries on something called as an ESG. So environment, social, and governance. Now this is not a very new concept. Governance means equal rights or having board members. Social means social will probably include disposing your marks, because it should not create any company or a society should not create issues for other people. So when you
Mm,
take 10 steps back, then you really understand that this is evolution, this is a process, and the problems at hand may not be so big.
mm,
These are not very big problems for humanity as such. The problem may be very big for me or a society or a larger society or a country.
mm,
But this is something that which we can deal with. There is a lot of resilience in nature. There is a lot of resilience in humanity, in the human population overall. So yes, there is a solution. So there are so many innovations taking place in ESG, and we are at the forefront of it. I run the world's largest sustainability platform. We have a presence across 52 countries now. Thousands of corporates work with us. We are also into volunteering. So when I am looking at a problem, if you take a few steps back, then you see, okay, this is a problem, this is a problem. So what is an urgent and an immediate problem? Then we will realize that the urgent and immediate problem is not probably connected to the pandemic. 3 years back, there was no pandemic. There were a billion people who had no food. That problem persists even
True.
today. Even today, there are a billion people who have no food, and that is probably a bigger problem than smaller ones. So while we are dealing with a problem at hand, we also need to understand that there are larger problems, and as a society, we need to take care of them all. Because a
Yes.
billion people with no food cannot go behind. Okay, we will deal with this later. Let's deal with something at hand now. So
True.
all the problems have to be sorted together, and that is where the concept of ESG really comes in, and that is what we are working on. So it's a conducive thing throughout the value chain, throughout the supply chain, throughout the society. You give equal importance to environment, social, and governance. Not one of them is of higher importance. You know.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
that is really the step that we should be looking at as forerunners in the society, because the word that you spread, it works. So I would rather request the panel to look at the problems at a much holistic level,
Absolutely.
the overall problem, and then try and give the solution. So that I feel really will work. And coming back to the mask, there are a lot of innovations being done. There are governments who are asking to recycle the mask. There are municipalities across the world which I am aware of.
Oh,
Yeah.
we've lost.
Failed to use the marks correctly. So yes, there are policies and procedures being put on for the mask. But when you look at 7.5 billion people in the world,
Yeah.
it takes time. It takes time for the policies to proliferate down to the last person at all. So that
But
is really
But
my
the
opinion.
correct the way of business strategy might have little bit changed. The evolution must have come in that level also, right?
Oh,
Because of
absolutely,
this,
absolutely.
absolutely, right.
Absolutely.
So
Definitely.
this has changed many variables in many variations. So I
Mm.
could say
Correct.
that that's why the panel, as you rightly said, to have a very holistic approach to the subject. It's like एक हम हिंदी में बताते हैं ना कि जब अर्थ मूव होता है तो थोड़ा हम सब शेक होने वाले हैं.
Check
So
it.
Correct.
I
Correct.
think the एक shaking movement चल रहा है सबका. So everybody is shaking little bit, and it takes time for person to realize and then stabilize, and then again they come into the actions. But during that time, keeping their foot on ground firmly is very very important. So Dr. Valiji, when I'm talking about the keeping the foot very strong on the earth, and standing straight, and how do you see with your eyes, because I know your experience in decades, like I can say that from like last 50 years. If I say I have few years, you can say that from 50 years I'm into the industry. So right now, Padma Shri, Dr. Waliji, please kindly guide people around here that the front hand, now the situation which is going to be, how holistically they can deal with it, and how they can stabilize themselves in this situation. Abo,
Dr. Wali, you are muted. Dr.
muted.
Wali, please unmute yourself. No, no. Dr. Wali, you need to
Yeah,
unmute yourself, sir.
I'm
Yeah.
unmuted.
Thank you. Thank you.
Holistic is the right word.
Yeah.
Integrated medicine is the right word. Gratitude is the right word. Caring is the right word. Meeting everyone's need, however we can, is the right word. And Vasudhava Kutumbakam is the answer to all the problems.
Yes.
Yes.
If my country can provide 5 things which India needs, we shall probably win the big fight. First
Yeah.
thing is the clean drinking water for every citizen. This is the
Mhm.
requirement for us for future, because water is going to face a bigger global problem. We have seen in South Africa, for the
Exactly.
small example,
Yes, just now.
3 square meals a day, 3 square meals a day. One third of the population of India sleeps hungry. I'm not exaggerating. Three square
Yes.
meals a day, uncontaminated by human or animal excreta. This is very important. What we have in our hygiene, what we have in our water, what we have in our food, cleanliness, this is affecting a lot of budget on medical treatment by lack of hygiene. So I have added this 3 square meals a day uncontaminated by the human or animal excreta. This is important, looks funny.
Oh,
Third,
no, no, it's not at all.
economic empowerment of the village women. This is
Yes.
long overdue, and we should all collectively fight for that in a country like India, not
Wow.
in UK or USA. You see, this is a very important issue. It's going to be further important issue because many ladies, many families have lost their running members during COVID in the villages,
Yes.
unnoticed, unaccounted, unrecorded. It's going to be big crisis. Also, the
Absolutely.
crisis for agricultural sector. Fourth, at least one toilet for every house. That's what our government is trying to do. I don't know how much they've succeeded on papers, yes, but one toilet for each house. And girls go to school at least up to 20 years of age, if not 18 years of age, pre-degree. These are the five things which is the requirement of the day. And you see, we have to seriously think about it. There should be political will, there should be individual will, and there should be NGOs, there should be people like you, there should be people like us, and they should really help. When I'm doing this webinar, at least 20 patients at my basement are being treated by two
Oh,
volunteers, three doctors,
oh,
and 10 staff, and 50% of them will be treated free. They'll not pay. So this is what the society needs today. And everybody who comes to me for treatment, I can assess that their pockets have gone empty. They have no money to treat themselves. It's a very, very bad situation we are
facing that.
we are heading through. That's what I wanted. So we are heading through a bad crisis. You see,
That is
things
what
have
Vali ji,
gone. Yes, yes, Shilpa ji.
वली जी जो ये परेश जी ने बताया ना वैसा ही है कि
I fully
pandemic
agree.
is a kind of thing, and we have been facing before also. The India has been always facing hygiene, malnourishment, and we have been struggling, and in that we got this wave. So it's I think optimistically in a way, वली जी, that ये time है कि इसको fast recover करो. अब तो अब इतने टाइम से प्रीच हो रहा है, ये टाइम आ गया कि फटाक से उसको पिकअप करो. जो जो आप राइटली बता रहे हो कि आपने बहुत अच्छा पॉइंट ये लिया कि पेंडेमिक में हम ये भूल चुके, वी हैव फॉरगॉटन इन पेंडेमिक about the hygiene, how important it is, and how important it is in daily routine to take care of it. And in this entire situation, when we see and we get back to the home, we get back to the family, and we see that how we have been handled within. This problem is global, and I think that David will also agree to me, Paresh will also agree, and Dr. Valiji has a very great insight on that topic. Smita ji, I want to ask you this question, since you are been dealing thousands, no, and lakhs of cases must have come to you, the sexual abusement within the home environment, around the educational environment, or when the person is around them, in the periphery of the people of 50, the one is getting abused, you know one is getting abused by around the 50 of the people when they are moving with them every day. So Smita ji, I really would like to throw that light during the pandemic, when we are in the house, what is happening and how we can deal with it.
So what I would like to start with is that when we're talking about homes, home is supposed to be a place of care and love. Everybody who's living in the family, that's what it's supposed to be. But
Absolutely.
unfortunately, this does not consider the fact that the home has also historically been a site of violence. Violence which is physical, emotional, and sexual. So our
Okay.
starting point has to be to first recognize this, that the home can be a site of violence. And if we accept that, then we will not be surprised with the rise in cases of child sexual abuse and domestic violence all over the world. India is no
Oh,
exception.
oh,
And
during
then
pandemic.
Yes, absolutely.
yes, absolutely, during pandemic. But I'm saying during pandemic, you have seen an exacerbation of this. During pandemic, you have seen a 95% spike in the demand for child pornography. You've seen a
Yes.
200% increased demand in specifically violent child pornography, ones
Oh,
that uses physical and brutal violence. I mean,
correct.
this in itself is a public health crisis. It's a
Exactly.
shadow pandemic. It's been
Exactly.
termed as a shadow pandemic, right? So when we consider the fact that India, if we look just like at India, and we recognize that we are a patriarchal nation that prioritizes male domination within the home and society. This makes us examine the various manifestations of violence that occur at home as a result of this patriarchal structure. We don't think about it. We don't recognize it. These are micro actions, micro aggressions. So,
Right.
patriarchal norms, what are they actually? They're just encouraging ideas of domination against those who are vulnerable and dependent by those who are typically hold positions of trust, power, and responsibility. Now, if I
Exactly.
come and look at only a child sexual abuse, sexual offenses against children is a very complex issue. And it
Yes.
mostly takes place in circles of trust and is shrouded by a conspiracy of secrecy. And the
Absolutely.
statistics is 1 in 2.
Yeah.
Statistics is
50%
1 in 2
into.
people, okay,
Yes.
who have experienced child sexual abuse or are experiencing child sexual abuse.
Exactly.
So this is why Sakshi is working towards shattering the denial, silence, shame, and stigma that pervades our society. And how are we doing that? We're doing that by equipping the youth of today with skills, tools, and information on how to become preventer of child sexual abuse.
Right.
So we're reaching out to 40,000 colleges and 4
Super.
million students who are
Whoa.
enrolled as volunteers for the National Service Scheme. And this is directed to us by the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Government of India. So
Whoa.
these students,
That's
they receive a very thorough understanding of the complexities of child sexual abuse and gender-based violence. They are introduced to Protection of Children Against Sexual Offences Act 2012, to ways in which they can intervene in situations of harm and abuse. The methods of de-escalation, especially in
Yes.
contentious
yes.
scenarios, is extremely important in today's environment. And most importantly, they are equipped with information on how to understand and identify who to enroll within their families and communities
Yes.
and systems for further assistance for the victim or survivor, thus building allies for safe spaces.
So
Super.
this is how I think you mean to say, Smita ji, that each
Salute.
of the family we need to identify that whom need to be educated, and
Yes.
we can bring down the scenario which is taking up high.
Absolutely.
So when we are in
Because
the family, but
yeah,
Smita ji,
because the main action is prevention. Prevention
Yes.
is the critical
exactly.
action that we need to be able to take. It's not about stop it when it's happening. It's about how do we create an environment of trust, of empathy, of respect, of communication, of conversations, of being able to say, hey, listen, we are all alert, we are all watching, and we are all
Yes,
supporting each other. And if anybody's got an abusive thought in their head, we will not let you get away with it.
True.
exactly.
So we're really committed. How can I say this?
I
Committed to
just
creating a
Brilliant.
sustainable form of justice.
Yes.
We keep fighting about this, but we are trying to make accountable communities. So community and family becomes accountable, which is what makes the justice sustainable and transformative.
so
So that we
Smita
Mhm.
can
ji,
hold perpetrators and harm doers accountable for their actions and actually keep restoring conditions of safety within the family, within the homes, and care for all those people who probably have been harmed as well. Sorry, you
Right.
had a question.
no. I was
Ah,
just actually Paresh ji. I wanted Paresh ji here. Akshay, just see, no, where is
Uh,
Harishji? Roll.
he just logged out just now.
Just
He would
yeah.
come back. He would just come back.
So
Don't worry.
it's just I
Uh,
wanted to take it up like where the Smita ji is talking about the home abusement and happening in either
yeah.
financial situations, the insecurity, and they want to get away with it, and then the how they will forget this, how they will engage themselves into the good deeds. So there are such questions which is burning within the house, and so the abusing and the completely insecurity, if you see the insecurity and abusing. So David ji, David, I wanted to ask you, is this situation in UK, or you can see globally as a, like, you are into the field of sustainability, maybe you are into environment, but you are into the society. Do you see that such things need to be it has to be into accountability, it has of the individual who are staying in the house, and how you see this situation?
Yeah, I mean it's something that we do need to tackle, and it is, as already been said, something that is an issue across the world. We have seen an increase in the UK as well. I've been hearing through kind of Radio 4 reports and things. It has become an increased, reportedly reported issue in the UK, and we do really need to tackle it. Because we do need trust and love in the world, and we need to ensure that we tackle this now because we have much bigger things to be dealing with. Well, obviously this is a very serious situation, but
Yes.
there are massive problems across the world, pandemic aside.
It's like, because we are into claustrophobic conditions, and we don't have any gateway with it, and
Yeah.
different situation is completely cognitive. It's a cognitive situation where the multiple things, at a time, now we need to use our intellectuals, our emotionals, our sustainable quotients, our environment quotients. So all the areas now we are getting used by pandemics. I can say that we can blame pandemic, that they have done some kind of knocking the door of a humankind. Hello, get up. What are you doing? Use your this brain, use your that brain, use your thing. So environment is indirectly where it's a gray area. Environment is knocking the gray area, and we need to awake, we need to arise, and we need to act on it. So if I like, during this I would like to conclude and this entire situation in this webinar for the awake, arise, and actions is number one, as the Dr. Waliji is rightly said, that you have to be very truthful in the situation, and you have to face it positively, and it's there. You just can't being so much affirmative and positive that you just ignore what is happening around us. So we need to be taken up this seriously, and as David said, that there are serious issues about the disposable. We cannot forget the environment. The Smita ji has raised the issue within the house, how we can take care of each individual around you and make them secured, and how that arise and actions should be happening. So it's like, I feel that the title has been really been justified by you all eminent speaker here, and I'm so thankful that your intellectuals, your complete knowledge, and I would say that it's a wisdom which has come through you guys, and all the listener to us has really little bit also, like, we say that we all are putting a drop of us and it becomes an ocean. So we have today try to give our drop to the society. Let's see how society is making an ocean out of it. So really, thank you so much for being in the panel, and I would request that kindly be there. We have an amazing workshop. So Suhani, kindly please take it further. And
Yeah. Thank you so much. What an amazing panel discussion that we've had with our eminent panelists. Thank you to each one of you all, because the comments that are pouring in and that we are seeing, people have really been enjoying, because what they are listening to is reality, and what they are listening to is simple words which they can understand. And I think that was so much required today. Today, I'm just going to take a minute of each one of your time, and I'm going to share something with you all. I was very disheartened before this entire webinar started, because there is a show which I do with young achievers, and we lost one of them to, you know,
Oh,
2 days ago, and the child was only 13 years old, and we
oh,
lost the child to COVID.
oh,
So it was heartbreaking news that the family is so disoriented. I mean, for a parent, it's just something they cannot accept it. So summing it all up, how beautifully Dr. Shilpa summed it up and said that what each of our eminent panelists have spoken today, and shared their thoughts and their wonderful knowledge with us today. So this is what I do. I run a talk show, and when I end my talk show, at every of my episode, whether I'm talking to a child or whether I'm talking to an adult or whether I'm talking to a teenager, that's one thing I say: if there is anything that is bothering you, please do not keep it bottled up within you. And I say that today, again today, on this platform that we are together. Please, if there is something bothering you, do not keep it bottled up within you. Do find a friend who you trust or your family member you trust, and kindly communicate it with them, share it with them, because by sharing it, you will find a solution. By keeping it bottled up within you, it's only going to harm your health. And at times of these COVID, we need to be in the ace of our health, and then only we can look after our family members. So this is one thing which I request each and every one of you all to kindly do that for yourselves, and see to it that in your family or in your friend, anyone who requires a year, please lend it to them.
yes.
Kindly lend them a year, because that is really going to help
So,
them. So this
Hani,
is,
yeah,
yes,
yeah. So Hani is sorry to because Paresh ji is here, so I
right.
can't
Please,
forget to ask him that question
please,
which I
please go ahead.
wanted to
Yes,
ask him.
please
Yeah,
do.
that question, Paresh ji, it's very important question, because right now, even where I run my wellness center, or the psychological assessments, what we do and all, there are lots of insecurity in the economical crisis is happening, and there are a lot of rumors or myths what we see around. So I think you are the right person here to say the people about how they can come out of their economic crisis, or how the situation is going to happen in coming years, like for 2021-22, according to you, optimistically you would like to say here, because this is what the insecurity creates the fear, and fear creates the crime. So I really would like to ask you this, right, Smita?
Okay, so will
Absolutely,
I'm having a
absolutely.
lot of internet issues. There's heavy rains here, but
Oh,
I have an answer for you. See, I'll give you. I'll
Uh, uh, uh,
quote the
Parishti, if
Bhagavad
you could
Gita
just increase your
again.
volume, please. You've become
Bhagavad
very,
Gita,
suddenly, you've become very, very
can I have
soft.
hi, is there raining? It's raining over there, so you
Ah, no, no. Oh, okay,
connect
okay.
us. So can we continue with the workshop, and then we can have Paresh ji? I'll just message him, so we
Yeah,
can
yeah.
have the answer
So,
later on.
yes, once again, thank you and gratitude to each and every of our eminent panelists. Please do wait around. We are having a fantastic graphology workshop by our TEDx speaker, Vinit Bansode. And yes, Parishji has joined. Please kindly, Parishji, take on, and please, we would like to hear you.
He's
Yeah. Am I
Yes, yes, absolutely. Please go ahead. We can hear you.
audible now?
Yes, yes,
little bit.
absolutely. You are
Yeah, yeah,
audible.
yeah.
Absolutely audible. Please go ahead.
So I'll
No,
Uh,
it's like, let Suhani continue with the workshop. I'm continuing with Pareshji, and I'm telling him we'll take it at the end of the show again.
okay.
Yeah, please continue with the workshop.
Yeah, so panelists, if I may request you all of to please wait till our workshop
Yeah,
gets done,
please
because
take
it's
this.
going to be an interesting workshop. They say that the way you sign makes all the difference. How you sign makes all the difference. Oh, Paresh ji has joined again. Yes, Paresh ji, please take over.
So I really apologize for.
I love this hide and seek.
Okay. So
This is bad.
am I clear now? Am I audible now?
Yeah, absolutely.
You
Go
are
ahead.
So
audible. Yeah.
I'll give you my favorite, one of my favorite quotes from the Bhagavad Gita, and I'm an
Yeah.
ardent follower of Lord Krishna. So I really believe in this. Lord Krishna says that you pray to me, and I may, give you the strength to face your sufferings.
Mm,
But it is not said that I will take away all your sufferings. Yeah. So you will
Yes.
get the strength if you pray. You will get the strength to go through your life and your sufferings if you pray, and you may not suffer so much if you have the strength. So
mm,
that in fact is reality of the pandemic. Jobs have been lost. Jobs are going to be lost. People are going to lose jobs. The value chains have been disrupted. The entire economic cycles have been disrupted across countries. There are
Yes.
geopolitical issues. So nobody can really say that you will not lose the jobs and everything will be hunky dory tomorrow. Oh, that's not going to happen. What is going to happen is we need to build resilience as people. We need to be more accommodating as corporates. So today, a lot of corporates that we work with are offering temporary jobs to spouses to help them, keep up the household burden, and that really is the way forward. So building resilience, building humanity for each other, that is the way ahead. And yes, the going is going to be tough. But if we build resilience, we might have a little, we might not have to suffer. Yeah,
yeah.
the
So,
road to yahi hai, suffering nahi
but
karoge. So
so Pareshji, I think we
Superb.
can sum up this economical crisis in the way that we have to accept the reality. We have
correct,
to awake and we have to accept it. So awakening towards the acceptance, arising
correct,
towards the efforts and
Ex-
actions
act-
toward the minimum steps what you can take during this crisis and be into sustainable area. So no fear, so less crime. So I
Superb.
feel we,
Perfect. This is a
Shilpaji,
perfect conclusion. Perfect conclusion to
Shilpaji,
this wonderful webinar.
Shilpaji,
हाँ,
when we
well,
finished this webinar, I appreciated just now Lord Krishna was talked,
Yeah.
and
हाँ,
this was just I would like to pay tribute to Lord Krishna. I advise everybody to play the flute to exercise lungs. So I am
yes,
Yeah.
preparing for Lord Krishna at the end of this, not actual end, but at the end of this session.
exactly.
Yeah.
Achyutam Keshavam Krishna Damodaram
Damodaram
Ram Narayanam
Narayanam
Janaki Pallabam
Janaki
Achyutam Keshavam
Keshavam
Krishna
Krishna Damodaram
Ram
Ramanarayanam
Janaki
Janaki
Pallabam नाम जपते रहो काम करते चलो हर समय कृष्ण का ध्यान करते चलो नाम जपते रहो काम करते रहो हर समय कृष्ण का ध्यान करते रहो. This is dedicated to Shilpa ji.
Arey,
Thank you.
it is for all of us, Krishna. I'm a true follower. Karmas karma pays off, and so keep doing karmas. That's it. I
Yes.
think
Yeah.
Karmanya
shows
Vadika
that
Raste Ma Pureshu Kadachin. These are all teachings from the Vedas,
Yes.
Bhagavad Gita, and that is what we have to follow now.
exactly this is what the law of action in economy, in environmental, in any crisis. The law of action is the action, and that is the science, and that is the physics, and that is the way it is going to be. And I think
Excellent. Thank you
Vinit ji,
so much.
please bring in the
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Thank you all. Thank you once again.
Be
Please stay
there
back for
today.
our
Yeah.
wonderful graphology.
Be
That
there
we are
to
going to
see.
have workshop with the one and only Vinit Bansode. Let's welcome him with a big round of applause. Yes, he is India's leading celebrity life coach and graphologist, handwriting and signature analysis. He has been practicing graphology since the past 2 decades. Wow. India's first and only TEDx speaker to speak on graphology. Founder of the Graphology Research Institute, he has conducted more than 500 workshops in India and abroad. He has taught graphology to more than 5,000 people and certified them as graphologists across the country. Oh, Vinit, we welcome you and thank you for having you here on this wonderful webinar. And what a wonderful way we'll be concluding it with your brilliant
Thank you.
graphology workshop. We were waiting for it. Over to you, Vinit Bansode. Okay, I think there's a bit of a technical glitch everyone is facing, but Vinit, please continue. We can hear you.
So um, we, we, okay,
Vinit,
great. Graphology is the understand the human brain, and everybody everywhere, I always say this that Google can't one question for you. Yes, am I audible?
yes, you are absolutely audible. Absolutely audible.
Yes,
Vinit,
yes,
please
you're
go
audible.
ahead.
Suhani,
Yeah.
am I?
Yeah, I can hear you, Vinit, very clearly. Please go
Right.
ahead.
Yeah, yeah.
So graphology is a science. Okay. So graphology is a science and it's accepted all over the world, but in India it is new and people are not yet aware about this. I've been practicing and it's my full-time profession for the past 20 years where I teach and analyze graphology and analyze signatures and mindsets. So understanding the human brain is the most important thing. Like in these times, almost I must have conducted 100 seminars online in the COVID situation. There is a lot of fear, there is a lot of confusion, and we ourselves. I always say, everybody is on Google, but Google cannot answer you one question, and that question is, who am I? Who am I? What is my real strength? What is my weaknesses? What is my untapped potentials? What is the have? But graphology can really identify that, and it can guide you exactly in times of confusion. What you're not supposed to do. Now, if you have a pen and paper, I will give you a small exercise.
Yes,
Write
absolutely.
this sentence: the jumps over the lazy dog.
Can you repeat it,
The
please?
quick brown fox over the lazy dog, and I want you to write very small, very 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 small.
Small. Okay.
Brown fox jumps over lazy dog, but write it extremely small. Have you seen a person writing something on a grain? Smallest, write the smallest that you can write. And I want you to experience how you feel the moment you write in small handwriting. So write this sentence: the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, and write it extremely small. And I want you to experience how you felt.
Hmm.
You're done. I can actually see the body language immediately changing of people the moment you're writing small, right? You actually go very close to the paper. So, what happens is when you write small, you your entire focus into that. Now we have less time. This really that if I ask you high, while writing this small handwriting? Was it high or
Right.
low? We can have the chat. People can type in the chat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
When
they
you're
can
writing
understand.
small, what do you feel? Your
Yeah.
presentation was good. Yes, I'm sure most of you must experience that the
Vinit
it's simple
voice.
to improve your concentration to start writing. You
Hmm.
know, whenever
You,
you
Beneath,
have a challenge
beneath your voice is
and you
not
are
your
looking,
coming
voice.
you're
clearly.
wearing
It's
your
jarring.
thinking hat. That time, just think instead of just start writing.
Beneath your voice is not coming
Voice.
clearly. If you want, put off
Is
your
it okay
video.
now?
If there is a bandwidth issue, put off your
Yeah.
video and let your sound be on.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Much better. Now we can hear you.
Have the
No, the sound is yet an issue. Would you like to remove your earphones and talk, Vinit? Try that because we
if you
can't hear you at all.
you can Google all the scientists across. Let me try to network then maybe.
We can't hear you at all. Your voice is coming, in parts. So each word that you're saying, you can hear only a bit of it.
Maybe.
Apologies to everyone, but this network issues is something which is not in our hands and we can't do anything about it. And as Paresh said, it's been raining cats and dogs. So I guess probably that also plays mayhem with the network.
So one in New York and one in India.
Yeah.
The rain and the coverage. So let's take it further. To close this session. That
Just just
the
one
day
minute,
is
doc. 1 minute, Dr. Shilpa. Just 1 second. Uh, Vinit, are you with us? Vinit, is it possible for you to get on? Uh, you know, no, we've lost Vinit. Please
we
go
will
ahead.
have them next time because
Yeah,
our sessions are every Saturday. We are
yeah,
having it at 6:30, and we can have him again because
yeah.
definitely he is a valuable person to add value
Completely,
to people's life,
completely.
and he can really make a difference to thousands of people. So I know
Yeah.
as how graphology is a science, and
Yes,
the,
it's very interesting because
yeah,
just
very
there was one session that I was there present where Vinit was doing his session, and it was like magic. It was completely like magic. You just do your signature in front of him, and he tells you everything about yourself.
about him.
And it's like that eerie feeling also you get at the same time.
So
It's scary.
Honey, the Paresh must be knowing this. I am so sure because
Yeah,
he does the business workshop so many, and
yeah.
he must have come across such things like Paresh, the graphology, and when the people are at home, they should take up such kind of thing which can improvise them, which can engage them in this kind of activity. And
Oh,
Valiji also
absolutely.
know about this very well, right? So David, in UK, like in your country, the graphology is been taken up as a science, like they do follow there.
I have no idea, to be honest. I assume
So
so.
it would have
No,
been
no,
great for you.
so, Dr. Shilpa, I would definitely say that yes, graphology is something which is recognized world over. in very various and many countries, it's been recognized, because it really does help. So people, once they actually get their signatures done and they do it in front of Vinit Bansode, I have seen that happening, and I've seen the change also happening. With his the wonderful solutions that Vinit will give you is absolutely brilliant, and how it will help you.
So Hamid Wali is smiling. Wali ji
Yes,
is going
yes.
to say something on this.
Please,
Yeah,
please say,
Wali ji.
please say.
I have something.
Yeah.
Yeah, please say,
Most of you must have noticed Donald Trump's signatures.
Yes.
And I like that because it's like an easy, like this. And I never decipher anything out of those signatures. I've seen so many signatures, traveled so much around the world with presidents. So never I have come across this graph. You see, we were taught the muscle graph in the second year of the medicine. You may be recalling that. It used to come like this. So the Trump signature is like this. I'm shaking hand till it finishes. It's long graph like this.
Oh, ECG kind of. It's a kind of an
ECG.
See, the signatures are very important part of the personality.
Yeah.
Right.
And ascending lines in the signature, dots in the signature. If you have a very small signature, if you have very short signatures, if you have very long signatures, they all are important. You see, that spells your personality. And many people can tell many things about a person whose signatures they analyze. And sometimes, as a patient, I see some people who are very miser, they have very small handwriting.
Right.
Oh. And it's like this is also part of a wellness, nowadays. David, you will be surprised that in India, because we are densely, highly populated, and we find a solutions which does not take more money. And we earn more and we pay less. So in this situation, we try to find new things. So new things come, and the graphology is scientifically, there are lots of research papers. You can
No,
really
it's a part of our good teachers would teach us because of Parkinsonism. The diagnosis of Parkinsonism is based on identifying the change in signatures. So this was part of neurology training also.
Yes.
Identify the signatures, call for the old signatures, and see the difference. How the micrographia is also a feature of Parkinsonism. That's the small letters. The letters become small. The steps become small. And the writing becomes, and we have to ask patients in geriatrics, has ever your check been returned from the bank because of the signatures?
Oh,
yeah,
so
yes.
Part of training in medicine.
वाली जी, यहाँ पे परेश जी जो है हमारे यहाँ बीच में एकदम जबरदस्त है, तो उनको मालूम है कि ग्राफोलॉजी को कैसे यूज किया जाता है, बिजनेस में भी उसका बहुत यूज है, और विनीत बंसोले जी is using for business enhancement.
Yes, very much.
Correct.
So Paresh, would you like to say something on that?
That's the applied part of it.
Yeah.
It's a science. It's a psychological science.
Yes.
I don't follow it much, but I'm told that I have a very nice signature as per graphology. So I was told that. But I personally read a lot of things. I may not necessarily believe so much to them, but I read a lot of things because it makes sense to know so many things. And that is when I read about graphology a few years back, or many years back, really.
Right.
But having said that, now I believe that yes, a personality trait can be identified from graphology.
Right.
And yes, when you're on the negotiating table, like how I am as an innocent banker, I negotiate large deals between companies. Anything will help. So anything will help. So any little thing which tells me about the other person, really helps on a deal making scenario. So yes, that's the advantage.
Common sense as well.
Common sense.
There's a lot of it involves person like you
Yes.
would really judge a person. Like I have to judge. Our teachers used to say you should be able to make a diagnosis the moment your patient walks into your room. That was the kind of teaching we have. And same applies
Wow.
on nutrition also. that you
Right.
have to really make an assessment and don't waste time with those who are wasting your time. You have to identify that part of clientele also.
Absolutely. So that assessment, client assess हो जाता ना sir. You know who you are talking to and वो क्या कर सकता है, क्या नहीं कर सकता है. That the smaller things really help, you know.
Yes.
So this is one of those sciences, smaller things, but it helps you in business.
That's great. Fantastic.
Suhani,
I think
yeah,
this
Suhani,
is
take it
really, yeah, I think this is really brilliant, how we've got insights from Pareshi about graphology, that his signature is absolutely brilliant. And I would love to see your signature on that. Yes, Dr. Shilpa, you want to say something? Please go ahead.
No, the same thing. Like even I would
Yeah.
like to see the David
Yeah.
and Wali ji and Smitha
Everyone's signature.
Bharti.
Yes,
I
yes,
see their
absolutely.
profile and we can see that
Yeah.
what level of brilliance they have. So this session, Suhani would like to sum up with. So
Yeah.
please kindly take it further.
So once again, gratitude to David Chapman, to Pareshi, and to Padma Shri, Vallaji, and of course to our lovely Smita ji. Thank you so much for this lovely panel discussion that we have, and what amazing knowledge sharing. You have kept all our people who have come, all the wonderful comments that are popping up in the
Yeah,
comment
I can
box
see there are lots
continuously.
of
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, people have thoroughly enjoyed the session, so thank you so much, because there is so much going on in people's head and people's mind these days because of the fear of COVID, and of course because of the fear of the third wave coming in. Well, just to remind you all that yes, we are coming back again next Saturday. Do not forget, at 6:30 p.m.
Suhani,
Indian Standard Time. Yes,
yeah,
Dr.
before
Shilpa.
going to the speakers, I would like to mention some of the comments which has come. That
Okay.
if we can see the we are not more than agree to what Valiji has said. The hygiene thing which we have taken up, the mask recycling. There are lots of praise has come. Very knowledgeable this session was, and it was a very incredible speakers we have here. So there are a lot of and I'm
I'm
happy to
telling
see.
you, yes, Dr. Shipa, I've been only seeing the comments
Yeah,
whilst
and
the panel
because
discussion was going.
I feel that the people who are listening to it, they find the all the areas which great people, great thought. Yeah, Nitin do
Yeah.
it. So I people want to know financial condition. People want to know environmentally what is happening. People want to know that how realistic the physically what is happening to them. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah.
We are getting it. So okay, environment, plantation.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh.
Oh,
So
that's
it's
lovely.
see if you see really inspiring because people want to see the many areas of the life during pandemic, David here.
Yes. Yeah.
They just don't want to talk about COVID. They want to see the solutions, how the experts are talking about, how they are looking at it. So where you are talking from UK, and this we are live at US, UK, Canada. So there are many people who are watching us today in
Yes.
this webinar, and this is our fourth webinar. Four more to come, and we are slowly taking up all the subject which is globally, and we do some research also before taking up the subject. So
Mm.
the people who are watching us, they know that this is something myths and fact above. We talk about the facts, and we like to acknowledge people with lots of knowledge. And this is where the Suhani, our
Yeah.
back team, is amazingly. They are
Yeah. Yeah.
incredibly helping
Totally.
in this entire thing. They do some of them. They do the research. They come up with the subject. And then we do it. And the Suhani is heading up with her social intellectual. Her social intellectual quotient is too high, I could
Thank you
say,
so much.
because वली जी हमारा क्या होता है, वो साइंस की बातें करते हैं, बोर हो जाते हैं लोग हमको सुन के, तो वो मुझे बताती है शिल्पा, stop, people are not understanding. So this is how she is incredible. So thank you so much, Suhani, to be here, and people really
Both of
all
you
are
have been
saying
a very good combination. Both of you make a very good combination.
That's
you,
right. That's
Vani,
right. We are S squared. S and S. We are S squared.
So Paresh ji from New York, where out of your parents, you take out your time. It's great, David, to have you here on this platform, and we would like to see you for many more, which is we are looking up only for the environment. We will call you only for your subject. So looking forward, David, to have you on this platform. Wali ji, you are always gonna be with me, and your blessing. I'm not gonna leave you.
I'm part of your team always, and thank you so very much once again. And
Thank
And
I learned so many things in this session, for which thanks goes to you and your team. And I
thank you.
always come in your webinars to learn something which I don't know, and I always pick up things.
You
And
are
I
always
was very impressed with both of your speakers, David sir and Paresh sir, and they have got great insight into their subjects. And
exactly.
I always will thank you for all this. And it's a great job to have all these people around. And a salute goes to all of you.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you so
you,
much.
thank
Thank you
you,
very much.
thank you
Thank you,
so
Paresh.
much.
Thank you.
But
You all
Thank you.
before we go, we have to tell you that we have a wonderful memento which will be sent across to you all
Thank you.
very very soon. So just look out for it, and we shall definitely inform you. Dr. Shilpa has been very very kind, and she's really got something very special
You must have
organized for
crafted it
all our
nicely,
panelists.
because the
Thank you.
first meaning of Shilpa is to be a craft person. So
Waliji,
she
I
must
learned
have
from
done it.
you when I was in Delhi. I learned from you when I was in Delhi. How people when they come
Thank
to
you
you.
very much.
So
Thank you.
I know
It's
this.
my
I
honor, my
know.
pleasure once again, and I wish you good luck for your
Thank
forthcoming
you.
webinars. Thank you very
Yes,
much.
thank
Thank
you
you very
so
much,
much
David.
once again.
Paresh.
Thank you all.
Looking forward to all guys again.
Thank you. Take care.
Yes,
Bye.
Doctor, before you all go, just let me announce next week is another wonderful webinar. It's going to be at same time, 6:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time on a Saturday, which is 10th of July. And what an amazing title. What to expect when you're expecting. And we have a wonderful panelist that we are going to have. We have got Dr. Kunjal Bhatija, who's a well-known gynecologist. We've got Dr. Swati Shirsagar. We've got Nandan Bhatt, who's a very well-known environmentalist who's running Ecokari. And we have got Adritya Deepika, who's also very well working with the environment. So looking forward to this amazing session. And we have a special guest that day who's going to be a surprise for all of you all. So do not miss it. And thank you
Thank
once
you so
again.
much. So
Yes.
looking forward for your support further also. Thank you so much, all
God
guys.
bless everyone. Have a great evening
Bye.
ahead. Saturday evening today. Enjoy with your family. Bye-bye.
Thank
God
you all.
bless.
Bye-bye.
Bye, David. Thank you.
Bye, David.
Bye-bye. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.